Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft, episode 374. My name is Rob. With me today is Wendy, and we have a guest with us as well, who we will get to in a moment here. Hey, Wendy, what are you drinking, and where are you?
I am on the road in Columbus, Ohio right now, drinking
Just like you said you would be.
just like I said I would. Drinking a Thunder Lizard Imperial IPA, coming in at 9.2% from Voodoo Brewing.
Okay, nice. I today have a Red Zeppelin from Burnham Brewing, who I believe we have coming on the show next month sometime.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to talking to them. I have had several of their beers, but it's a beautiful red ale. And with us today, we have Derek Almendinger. Did I get that okay?
Pretty good, yeah, Almendinger.
All right, from Unmapped Brewing. So, Derek, hello. Welcome to the show. What are you drinking?
Thank you so much for having me on. I am drinking our flagship IPA, No Trace. It's an American IPA, probably closest to like a Midwest IPA. It's plenty malty, plenty, I wouldn't say it's overly bitter. It's about 67 IBU. Plenty of aroma. It was the first beer that we ever brewed at Unmapped, and it's always been the best seller. And I think what makes it so popular, obviously IPAs have been popular for quite some time, but it's very balanced. So it's hoppy enough for the people that want hops, and it's malty enough for the people that want malt, but it's not overly anything. And this one has got my two favorite hops, Simcoe and Amarillo. And I think those have a pretty wide audience as well.
I have notes here to get to you about your tap list because I saw a few IPAs on there as well as a lot of other stuff. But first, I would like to know more about you. How did you come to brewing? How did you come to have a brewery?
Sure. My family has, my dad has family in England, and it was a trip in 2000 where I went. I was 2 years out of college in the year 2000. We went over to England. I had been drinking nothing but Miller Lite all through my college years. Someone gave me a Sam Adams in college, and I almost gagged a little bit because I was like, "What in the world is this?" So I was a light beer drinker. Went to England and tried a bunch of stuff, kind of out of necessity, and just kind of fell in love with the beers over there. And when I came back, that's when I started, my kind of craft beer quest of looking for beers that I had over there that I enjoyed and wanted to, find closer to home. And obviously back then it was a little more difficult than it is now. But that's kind of where the love of better beer came from. And 5 years later, I had just started dating this lovely woman. And for my 30th birthday, she gave me a homebrew kit because she knew how much I loved drinking craft beer. So we had known each other for about 3 months then. 6 months later, we got engaged. I got really big into home brewing. I loved it. She loved the product, but did not love me doing it in the kitchen. And I was in a job that I enjoyed, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do forever. I was trading mutual funds for a trust company for people's retirement accounts, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I got so into home brewing, eventually it just clicked. I'm like, oh, you know what? People actually get paid to make beer. Or maybe I should go try to find a job in the brewing industry. Back then, Wendy was in Minneapolis, so she knows kind of the scene. There's a lot of breweries in Minneapolis, St. Paul, in Minnesota in general. But back in 2007, 2008, that wasn't the case. So I went around, kicked a few tires, and I think there was maybe 5 breweries. Summit was one of them. Town Hall was a great brew pub. Rock Bottom was still in Minneapolis. I think Rock Bottom wrote me back. I think they were the only people that actually wrote me back, but nobody was looking for help at that time. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this? And going to school was the obvious answer. So I looked at various brewing schools around, the country and the world, and I settled on the American Brewers Guild out in Vermont, and enrolled in their distance learning program. So I was able to study from home, and that was about a 9-month program, and it culminated in spending a week out in Middlebury, Vermont, it was Otter Creek Brewery. Then I don't know if that exists anymore, but anyway, we spent a week doing hands-on stuff, practicing all the stuff that we had learned in the book, and then we all got our brewing diploma, and that through that program I was able to get an internship, which ended up being at Summit Brewing in St. Paul, and that was a 4-month internship starting in February of 2010. And after that, I had a few months off looking for work and started my professional career at August Shell Brewing, which is in central Minnesota. It's an old family-owned German brewery that's been around for over 160 years. And that's when I finally started getting paid to make beer.
Yeah, it was funny when you said earlier that you thought people got paid to make beer, and we've heard from so many brewers who would argue against that.
Don't get paid a lot.
No.
You didn't say a lot. You just said paid.
Right. I had the opposite experience. My wife loved when I brewed in the kitchen because I would leave the kitchen cleaner than I found it.
What did she think of the smell?
She loves the smell. She loves the smell of that. It's just a great smell.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't like my wife. Her name is Carolyn. She'll come to the brewery now, and she can tell when the boil kettle is going because it's got that smell, and she loves it. But she did not like it in her kitchen.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now to see if she's listening.
I was at City Built a couple of weeks ago, and I walked in and said they are brewing right now. It smells so good.
They have to be. I can smell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. So, I mean, you asked how the our brewery came about. So after it was 4 breweries. I went from Shells. We decided we wanted to get back to the Twin Cities. Shells was about an hour and a half away from the Twin Cities. And so I was looking for places to work, and it just so happened that Surly had lost a brewery, so they were looking for work. And I had met Todd Haug at a homebrew event and various other events. And he's like, "Hey, let's talk." And ended up getting a job there. Worked there for about 2.5 years. Loved it. I love those guys, but they were so busy. We were working around the clock. I'm not wired for working overnights. It wasn't good. I don't know if people are, but some people are, but I don't know how they do that. When they built the new brewery, the big brewery, we kind of thought, well, that'll be the end of the overnights because we'll be able to brew 10 times as much beer during the day as we did like all week. But it turned out that wasn't the case. They just kept growing and growing and growing. And I think they're still working overnights in the old space that they started in. So just because of that, I decided I needed to find a different position. And so I went from Surly to a small brewery that was actually 9 blocks from my house, Excelsior Brewing Company in Excelsior, and spent 2 years there. And that was the smallest brewery I had worked at that time. Shells and Summit are the 2 biggest in the state. And Surly obviously grew to be one of the biggest. Excelsior is about, they were about 3,000 or 4,000 barrels a year. And then we'll get to, I guess, Unmapped. But so I was at Excelsior for 2 years, and working under a guy. I got to learn a lot more than just making wort, which is what I was doing at the other places. And after that, I kind of felt like I could probably be a head brewer somewhere, and there was an announcement in a paper that a brewery was opening up near to where we lived, and I just reached out and said, "Hey, are you guys looking for a brewer?" And they were like, "Well, we aren't yet, but we will be, and let's talk." And again, there's the "let's talk" phrase. And so we kept in touch over the next year, and once they were ready to pull the trigger, I was the guy. And in June of 2017, Unmapped opened, and I've been there ever since. I can't believe we just celebrated 8 years, how quickly it went.
Yeah, nice. Isn't Excelsior the name of the brewery in Strange Brew? I'm pretty sure it is.
Could be. It's been a while. I just was talking about that movie to my family, and thinking that that's a movie that we should watch. Is that right? If that's the case, I can't believe no one's ever mentioned that before. But
is that the one I couldn't watch? Did I got like 5 minutes in and was like, no, I have to turn that off?
Oh,
is that the McKenzie brothers?
It's the McKenzie brothers, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Great
I
White North, but a different Great White North.
Right. I was like, no. I'm like, we're done with this one.
Yeah.
If it is, I don't remember that, but that would be awesome.
Now I'm going to look it up.
Now I need to sit through it just to be able to answer questions like that.
Right.
So let's get to that menu that you have, because that was one of the things that really stood out to me was the variety of beer that you had and the quality that was given to us. Like everything I had was good.
Well, thank you.
I very rarely say that everything was delicious. So it really stood out to me. And the person who was serving us was very knowledgeable about the beer. And I thought it was amazing because he just asked the right questions instead of just, what's your favorite what kind of beer do you like? That's I hate that when you ask somebody who's serving you, what beer do you suggest? And they're like, well, what beer do you like? No, I want to know what you think I should try.
Gotcha.
So, but he did a really good job of giving us suggestions and telling us why he liked the beers.
And I'm trying to, do you remember his name? Because I'm trying to remember who that was, if it was Ryan or if it was Jason.
I don't off the top of my head.
Whoever it was, I'm glad that you had that experience with him. That's awesome. We'd love to hear that. Obviously, in Minnesota at least, if you're a production brewery, you can only sell one product, and that's beer. Now, you're getting into the THC stuff as well. But if you're only making one product, it better be good. Otherwise, people are going to go down the street. But yeah, that was something that we, had in mind from day one was the beer has to be quality. So when we were building the brewery out, is that coming from me, or are you guys getting that humming, or?
I'm not. Is that me?
It just stopped on my end. I don't know what it was, but okay.
Oh, that was Wendy.
That's my air conditioner. I'm in a hotel room, and the thing really hasn't stopped going since we got here. But it was too hot when we turned it off last night. So
that's the first thing I do when I get to hotels: crank up the air conditioner. You gotta do that. But it's much better now. So, yeah. So when we built out the brewery, we sacrificed a lot of real real estate to put in a decent sized lab so that we could make sure that throughout the process we were doing what you're supposed to do, doing what finding out if something isn't right in a specific process so you can correct that, or just anything from a quality standpoint. And if clearly you probably weren't because of the proximity, but if you were around the beginning of Unmapped, we really wanted to be a Belgian forward brewery, and after a year or two we just discovered that's not where the market was. There are people that have a huge affinity for Belgian beers, but there's not enough of them to maintain a number of them on a draft list. I think we probably had 2 on draft when you were there, Wendy. Our quad and our triple are the ones that have been the mainstays, but we always had a saison, we always had a white ale, and we've had Doubles. What else have we had? But anyway, slowly the year-round Belgians that we used to have kind of gone to the wayside. But one of the things that we like to say is that there's 2 main kind of beer drinkers in the world. One is the one that wants the same exact thing every time. The other is someone that wants something different every time. So we've grown to 16 draft beers now, and we always try to keep half of them kind of year-round mainstays or seasonals or occasionals that are very familiar, and the other half is something new that we can play around with and try. We're fortunate to have 2 brew systems in the back. We've got a 20 barrel system for production and distribution. Then we got a 3.5 barrel system that we use to play around and have some fun with, and that helps us keep that diverse tap list. Always churning and burning, and something new for people to try when they come in every time. And that the first half of the board that I was talking about, the fact that it has to taste the same every single time is a big challenge too. And that's why, our quality measures are so important, to make sure that if someone comes in and gets a no trace that we've been making for over 8 years now, it should taste the same as it did the last time that they were in. Otherwise, we're going to lose that customer forever. And that's not the customer that wants something different every time. So that's something that we take seriously and really keep an eye on.
Sorry, I was just trying to go back to Untapped to see if I could figure out which beers I had when I was there.
Okay.
I know that I had the quad.
Okay.
Because my friend actually took it, and I bought a second one so that I could drink it in our flight.
You got to remind me, what was your friend's name?
Michelle.
Michelle. Okay. Yeah, I know that was such a nice visit. I really enjoyed speaking with both of you.
Yep, that was, I don't know.
Did you guys each get a flight? Is that what I remember?
Yep, we each got a flight so that we can share it and we can try as many different beers as we can. So we were on a brewery trip, or we were on a beer trip. We really went to go to Paisley Park.
That's
but
right.
every trip that I do, I turn it into a beer trip.
Sure.
So we hit 13 breweries while we were there in the 4 days.
Nice. Very nice.
So, yeah, but you were the first brewery that we hit that day. We had just gone to Paisley Park.
Okay.
And we hit you guys on the way back towards where our Airbnb was.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's impressive. 13. And how long were you there?
4 days.
Okay, nice.
We got in.
Really good.
We got in like one morning, and then the 4th day we left in the morning. So technically, it was only 3 days.
Even more impressive.
So we had. I think I wrote it down. She was like 50 some beers away from her next goal on Untapped. So she was like, we're not going to be able to do that this weekend. And I'm like, bet. So I think we hit like 67 different beers we tried that weekend.
Yeah, I believe
Something
it.
along those lines.
If you're sharing flights,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to share flights when I'm in new places. Obviously, if we go in and it's really busy, I'm not going to get a flight. It's just etiquette. But I am pro flight.
Bartenders, yeah.
I am pro flight. I do like to try as many different things that you have to offer, because who knows if I'm ever coming back. Right. So I want to be able to tell people, oh my God, I had these amazing beers. And if I only have one, I can only say I had this amazing beer.
Yeah.
We do this thing at one bar that I go to a lot, where if there's a beer on tap that my buddy and I don't like, when someone comes in and asks what they should get and they're getting a flight, we tell them to get that one for sure. And then we laugh the whole way. But
that's a great game.
We're helping them to kill that keg. Some people like it. It's just not something I enjoy, so I'm ready for something else to go on tap there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with doing that either. Don't let me fool you. So if a bartender tells me to drink that, then there's a reason for it. So
yeah, that's right.
I will help however I can.
Yep.
You said that you had, we need to move. You said that you had 8 regulars on tap usually. That gives you 8 taps, if my math is right, to play with. So are there styles and things that you haven't gotten to that you want to get on there? Are there things that you enjoy rotating in there?
Oh, that's a great question. When we took off the some of the year-round or seasonal Belgians, this is obvious, but we ended up adding a second hazy and adding a second sour. So those are the kind of the things that people are asking about. We have there's including myself, I've kind of transitioned out of full-time brewing role into more of an ownership role. But then there's 3 other brewers too, and I love to give them all creative control. And the fun part is seeing what they do. There was one brewer that really liked mixing spices and stuff, like an apple spice, not quite a graph, but close to that. And another one was like a lemon drop hazy that we actually used like 20 pounds of actual lemon drops that we put into like a big, we call it our burrito, but it's a big screen filter. And then we just rotated beer through it until all of the lemon drops dissolved. And then, of course, we use lemon drop hops. One guy does a really nice brown ale that we call Brownton Abbey. We always say, I always say that the hardest part about brewing is naming beers. If I never have to name a beer again, I'd be perfectly happy. But we do sometimes. There's clever ones that come up. We have one gal that brews, and she loves doing. She does. She did a wheat beer with blueberry hibiscus. We've used herbs before, like basil and God, what was the other? Basil and it wasn't pineapple, but I mean, to answer your question, what beer styles that I don't know. I wish I knew the exact unique number of beers that we did, because I right now I can't think of one that I've wanted to make but hadn't gotten to. And before a year ago, I probably would have said a Belgian double. That was the biggest question we ever got, because people knew that historically we wanted to be Belgian, or we like Belgians, and they're like, "Have you ever done a double?" And we're like, "You know what? I've always wanted to, but I never have." But now a year ago we finally did, so that's no longer on the list. I can't. You stumped me. I can't think of one right now.
Are there ones that people come in and they say, "When are you going to do that one again?" That you can think of?
Yeah, we made a beer. Our first double IPA was what was it? Citra and Mosaic, and we called it Freak Drive. Yeah, classic blend of hops. We called it Freak Drive, named after like a frequency drive, a motor controller. All of our pumps had freak drives on them, and I just thought that was a fun name, so that's what we called it. But it was a double IPA. It was like 8.5%, and people loved it, but it just eventually just stopped moving. I don't know if people were scared of the alcohol or whatever, but it just didn't move, and that was one that we brought back. Like for our anniversary parties, we do a party on our anniversary every year in June, and Freak Drive was one that we brought back. That's probably the one beer that probably gets asked for the most. So we do try to bring that back at least once a year. The saison I was talking about too was always kind of a fan favorite that we bring back occasionally. But yeah, it's so fun. It maybe fun isn't the right word, but we kind of get amused at people who come in and are like, "Oh my gosh, why don't you make this anymore? It was so good. I loved it." It's like, well, you and your friends didn't drink enough of it. That's why we're not making it anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But yeah,
of that.
if I think of any more, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I'm in Michigan. I'm not sure exactly what the laws are in Indiana where Rob is. But I was very surprised to find THC beers in every brewery I went to, because here they just can't sell them in the same space.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they can make them. Like I have to look further into those laws and everything, but we're just starting to see them show up in beer stores. So I was very interested, and I think we chatted a little bit about it, how the THC thing came about, and I just found it amazing that they were everywhere.
Yeah, that was, it must have been 2021, maybe 22, probably 21 though. We had been a medicinal state for a while, and I think everyone just knew that the writing was on the wall that eventually recreational would happen. And during one of the legislative sessions, something got slipped into a bill, and everybody signed it, and the governor signed it, and all of a sudden, it was legal for people to manufacture gummies. It was legal for people to make THC seltzer. We can't make THC with alcohol in it, but we can make the THC seltzer just like the alcohol seltzer. And even one of the political parties said, "I don't even know how that got in there. How did that get by?" Blah blah blah. But it went in, and it it has kept a lot of breweries alive in Minnesota since then, because it's added a giant revenue stream to a lot of breweries. It's a very inexpensive product to make, and for a while people were getting a huge premium, especially selling cases to liquor stores. But those prices, as competition has grown, those prices have come down. But it still is a pretty good revenue stream, good margins for smaller breweries and stuff. So it was how it got snuck in and snuck past. And we're not asking questions. We just know that it's legal and we're running with it, and it's been good. And we're just kind of waiting for the insurance companies to catch up. At first they're like, nope, we won't touch that. We won't insure anybody that has anything to do with THC. And then it was like, okay, we'll give you a rider to serve it, but you can't also give that person alcohol. If you do, then your entire insurance is void. And now I think there's at least one company, maybe another one, that's coming out with a writing insurance plans that actually do cover people who consume both in the same setting. And so that's going to be a good thing, because we try to limit the amount of THC that people have on a visit, but maybe their friends are there hanging out and they're drinking beer for longer. They can't do anything else, and chances are the whole group's going to move on somewhere else, and we of course don't want that. But so yeah, it's just been kind of I think it was just this year that the state actually finally got the Office of Cannabis Management, the OCM. Before, there was no committee even in the state that was like regulating. Like, here's the laws, just follow them. Now we're finally getting some regulation. We did have our first THC inspection from the guy that does our area from the OCM, and he came in. He's like, right now we're not about enforcement. We're all about education. So they basically just came in and said, hey, what are you doing? How's it look? Okay, here's what you guys need to do differently. Good job. Keep going. And so far it's been pretty chill, but there is finally an actual state committee now that's keeping an eye on us. And eventually flower is going to be legal, and that's going to be another game changer. It's probably going to affect us, but not necessarily in a bad way. I think the two products are a different consumer. I don't think once flower is legal, people are going to stop drinking THC seltzer, but we'll see. But that is one of the things that's unique to Minnesota. There's maybe other states too, but we know it's not everywhere. So yeah, that probably looked a little different when you came in. Did we have it on tap when you came in, or was it just cans?
I don't remember, because I've never done the THC drink, so I never really thought to do it. I think I took a 4-pack home from Minneapolis.
Okay.
I think I got it from Surly. But it never crossed my mind. Like, I'm a beer drinker. So
yeah, me too.
I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go to a brewery and drink beer, but I do have friends that is something they would be interested in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like I said earlier, I was making the point that when you sell one product, it better be good. That's also, even you can make the best beer in the world, but it limits your customer base, and it satisfies a different demographic in that it's gluten free, it's 0 calorie, you don't get hangovers from them. So it satisfies all the people that are looking for a healthier beverage, which is what we're seeing, and it's a good variety to have.
Yeah, like I said, I know quite a few people that if I could go on a brewery tour with, like, I did a brewery tour for my 40th birthday, and I had friends that were on the brewery tour that they don't drink beer.
Yeah.
And I had friends that didn't go because they don't drink beer.
Yeah.
But they would have if they'd had something else available to them while they were on the tour. So I totally get that. And one of the things that you just mentioned was like the having options for people and being able to kind of reach out to different groups.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have said for quite a few years now is, like, since COVID, is that the breweries that are going to make it are the ones that are very involved in their communities and, making that stake in that area that they're in. And that was something that impressed me about your brewery. While I was there, they had shirts on sale for the Women's International Brew Day. Yep. And they took that one down to put up one because you guys did a partnership with somebody that was building a park, a handicap accessible park in the neighborhood. Yep.
Yeah.
And like my friend and I actually bought the T-shirt because I have that. Because we were just impressed with talking to you guys about why you do the things you do. And so I guess let's talk about that. What kind of stuff are you doing in your community to set that groundwork?
Yeah, I love that. When we first opened up Unmapped, and I guess a little history about Unmapped too. I started as the head brewer, and there was a married couple that was the founders. It was their idea. They, came up with all the, the name and all that, and the story behind it and everything. And unfortunately, their marriage didn't last, and both of them are now out of the industry. We're still, tight, good friends with both of them, but myself and one of my longtime friends, and he was also a board level investor of Unmapped, have taken over the ownership of the brewery. But back when I was just the head brewer and we were opening up the brewery, we didn't really know what to expect from the neighborhood or the clientele. We didn't really go out with an idea of creating anything specific, just kind of let it happen organically. And what we found out is that Unmapped has become just a wonderful community gathering place for people to come out and do whatever it is that they want to do. We didn't set out to be dog friendly. We knew we wanted to allow dogs. We didn't set out to be kid friendly, but we did want families to know that they could bring their kids in, and we're very bike friendly because we're very adventurous. And we've got, I think of a couple of examples. We do a CSA where people can come in and get a box of garden vegetables grown by a local farm, and then we do a vegan potluck. I think it's once a month. And both of those are events that I kind of use as examples of things that bring people in for a certain thing, but they're not necessarily like money makers for us. There's not like a lot of people will come in and grab their CSA box and not buy any beer, but we're more than happy to provide this as a place for that to happen. And we're the people that put on the vegan potluck is an organization called Compassion for Animals, or can't remember the exact name, but we just love being able to provide a space for them to come in and host those kinds of things. And we've never charged a fee, a rental fee or anything to use our overflow space or anything like that. But that's like one of the things that I'm most proud of at the brewery is we got this cork board in the office, and every time, every Tuesday night we do a pint night. So from 5 until 9 p.m. $1 for every pint. So it goes to whichever charity signed up for that night, and it's usually a local, either a sports team or some other local group. But a lot of times we'll get thank yous, and if we do like a silent auction donation to like a gala or something, we get these thank yous in the mail. And some of them are really personally written and written, and you can just tell how appreciative these people are to have this, partnership and interaction. And that I look at that corkboard in the office and I'm just like, this is why we do this. This is really important, and I love being part of this. And that's amazing. But we love the community. We're very dog friendly and kid friendly, which can be, polarizing to people that don't or aren't. But I mean, one of the things that my business partner said when somebody complained really harshly about the noise from the dogs and the kids running around is all you needed to do that night was look around and see all of the people in there. Did they have smiles on their faces or not? And the answer was yes, they all had smiles on their faces. And we're never going to apologize for being kind, and we're never going to apologize for being busy. I think we created something special here, and we're proud of it.
Nice answer.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds great. And Metazoa near us, they are dog friendly. They're animal friendly. I've seen all sorts of animals in there, but they have a dog park outside.
I made it there. I took a picture of the dog park. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah, we sat kind of in the patio area just off the dog park.
Okay, brewery, so you got plastic cups then.
Yep. And we even asked, like, do we need plastic for outside? Yep. Okay, give me plastic.
They didn't used to do that, and I'm glad that they have switched to it. I'm sure that it was necessitated.
Right. They're probably learned their lesson.
But, so does that mean you guys are getting a dog park?
No, probably not. We're surrounded by concrete and asphalt, but we did.
Listen, they have a very nice dog area right across the way.
Was it done? I was gonna.
They have a nice spot for the dogs. They're not.
Okay.
They're not holding anything back. They're not hurting at all in that parking lot. Let me tell you.
No, we do have a nice little like pet relief area, and as part of our anniversary party, we had a community kind of paint by number where we had a muralist that had done some work in and on our brewery in the past, came out and kind of just traced like a dog themed mural on a giant concrete wall right next to the pet relief area. And on our anniversary, people just came and grabbed a paintbrush and found their number, and so it was really cool to have this mural painted by people in the community, and they can come in and say, hey, I painted that person, I painted that dog, I painted that flower. It's really neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's not as fancy as Metazoa, but it's something.
That Metazoa dog park used to be natural grass, and that lasted for a little while, but then it became natural dirt.
I bet.
Right.
Turf is great. I love turf. I'd put turf in my yard if it was cheap and fast. I don't have to water it. Don't have to mow it. Yeah,
there's no weeds.
Exactly.
You don't get me started on grass. I don't want to talk about it. I've got a very large soapbox. So, what kind of events are you doing? You've mentioned a couple of different things. What type of stuff do you have coming up?
Yeah, we just finished one of our favorite events of the year, and that was the Gladden Hop Harvest. And if any of you are baseball fans from the 1980s and 90s, you remember that.
I knew exactly who you meant.
The Twins are really and the Lynx, I should say. The Lynx had quite a dynasty going there for a while, and they're still doing pretty well. But the Twins, they won the World Series in '87 and '91, and one of the players from both of those teams was Dan Gladden. He was our left fielder, and he scored the winning run in the '91 World Series. But upon retirement, he's also the baseball broadcaster for the radio for the Twins games. But he got into, he's a beer guy too, but he got into growing hops. His mom has a farm just west of the Twin Cities out in the country, and he planted about, I don't know, I would say maybe a quarter acre of hops, and he's got Galena, he's got Comet, he's got Nugget, all of the more popular hops that grow well in Minnesota that aren't the proprietary kind that you aren't supposed to grow. And he does a really good job at it. And we did our first one our first year. So now that we're 8 years old, this was our 9th annual. And that was just a week ago tomorrow. And so they pick all the hops from the farm. They bring the vines to the brewery, and then we clip all the vines into 3 or 4 foot pieces, and then people can come and grab a 2-gallon bucket, and then as many hops as they want. And for every bucket that they fill, they get either a free beer ticket or a raffle ticket. And we always have just great raffle items. Danny always brings in some pretty amazing baseballs and jerseys that are signed by the players. Our sales team goes out and asks some of our our retail accounts for gift cards and stuff. So we always come up with a pretty good list of things to give away, and that helps people pick fast, because the more they pick, the more raffle ticket entries they get. And we have a lot of fun with that. And then we brew the beer at the same day. The whole goal is to have hops picked at about the time that they're supposed to go into the brew, and we put them in right after the boil. So right after the whirlpool, then we'll put the hops in the mash tun, and then send the wort back into the mash tun and steep, kind of like tea, for 30 minutes, and then we send it into the fermenter. And that's been a very fun, family-friendly event for a long time.
That's awesome. So you don't even have to go out to Yakima Valley.
No, don't have to. We got the hops right here.
Yeah,
That's
great.
awesome. I could see my mom and dad bringing me to the event so I could help get the hops off there so that they can get some free stuff.
Right.
Right.
Pick faster, Wendy. I need a beer.
That's totally. They're like, "What are you doing? Stop playing around."
That's right.
Yeah.
Your little kid hands will do this well.
Exactly.
Right?
Works better. And then we've got our what we call our Flannel Roots Fest, and that's our fall festival. It's akin to an Oktoberfest. We don't have an actual Oktoberfest branded beer, but we do a beer called Flannel Roots, and it's an ode to fall, flannel weather, but it's very much it's more of a Martzen than a fest beer, but it's kind of in that vein. But we throw a party every year. We sell new flannels, and people show up with their flannels, their old unmapped flannels, or even just their old flannels that they have. We just love it. We have a lot of fun. It's crazy just seeing a sea of people, and they're all wearing flannel, and that's always a good time. And that'll be mid-October, and then it kind of goes quiet for a while. Winter. We're trying to figure out how the city gives us the opportunity to extend beer sales into our parking lot 3 times a year. So it's not a lot. So we really have to make it count. But it's always the anniversary party and this Flannel Roots party. And we're trying to figure out if it's a big gamble, but is there a winter party that we can do? I mean, if you remember this, when the Super Bowl was here, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, Minneapolis really leaned into, hey, we're the bold North, I don't know how well that played out because, of course, that was the coldest weekend. That was the temperature of Minneapolis that weekend was what most people think all winter long is, and it's not the case. But I think that we could have some fun with a winter festival if it was done right. But we're not quite there yet. So
there's one near me called Frigid Digits that happens in February in Indiana. So it gets cold, not the coldest day of Minneapolis cold, but it can get pretty cold sometimes.
Sure.
And that's an outdoor festival. They have they'll have fire. I saw this year I haven't gone yet, and I'm really kind of disappointed I haven't gone, but I do a festival the weekend before every year, so it's a lot of beer. But they have like fire jugglers and things like that, so they lean into it in several different ways.
Sure.
The Michigan Brewers Guild has a winter beer festival that they do every year. I believe it's in January, and I have been a few times. The first year that they did it 2 days in a row, it was always a 1-day festival. And the first year they did it 2 days in a row, we all talked about it and we're like, we're going to go the first day because, if things go wrong, the second day is the one that's going to be the problem. And the first day, the beer lines were so cold, they were pouring their coffee over it to thaw the lines to pour us beer. And then my friends went the second day, and it was beautiful out. The sun was out. They were pouring beer, no problem. So you never know with weather in the Midwest.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a festival in the Twin Cities called the Winter. They do a number of them, but there's a winter beer dabbler, and that it can be 30, 40 degrees, or it can be 10 degrees below. And it's a challenge. People bring the little sunflower heaters to try to keep their jockey boxes warm because beer will freeze at below 20 degrees even. But yeah, it makes for great stories.
As a face painter, I have done a lot of winter festivals, and I will tell you, at 50 years old, I am not doing winter festivals anymore.
How does the paint work on cold faces?
We do our best to put hot water in the bottles before.
Okay.
It is really cold. Sometimes the kids will be like, it's freezing. But usually they will put us in some type of heated tent, which helps. But it's still cold. Even when they tell you, they're like, oh, you're in a heated tent. And yeah, that's great when it's 10 degrees outside.
Right.
It's not that warm. Like, you're still cold all the way through. You're still, even in a heated tent, you're wearing 3 layers and a couple pairs of long johns.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. But at least we know how to do it, right? It's like
Yep.
the old saying, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, that's
Indiana
true.
Winterfest is indoors. It's in an animal barn at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
indoors and it's
weak.
heated. Yes,
Weak.
it is a concrete floor, so that's something. It's tough to manage
It's a
taster
concrete
glasses
floor in
on
a
concrete
heated
floors.
barn.
Yeah.
Right. I saw
I'm
that
just
you have. I saw that you have puppy yoga coming up, and I thought that was hilarious too. So it looks
Yeah,
like
that's-
not just dog friendly. You've got lots of things.
Yeah, it's become a very popular event, and people will say, yeah, it's more puppies just letting dogs climb all over you than more of that than yoga, but people seem to really get into it.
Sure.
And it fits our vibe perfectly.
I've seen bunny and goat yoga, but I don't think I've seen puppy yoga. I
The
love
people
it,
going to yoga with animals don't care about the yoga. They just want
Right.
to pet the animals.
Yep, that seems to be the case for sure.
I say this as an experienced. No, I really haven't been able to do that because it's hard to get into those classes.
They fill up.
Yeah.
Well, they don't fill up quick, but they're.
We're at 45 minutes, and we have not yet asked you about coffee.
Ah,
He's been talking about this since I told him you were coming on.
I think it's a wonderful business plan to have a coffee shop and a brewery, coexisting. First of all, coffee is delicious in beer, and second of all, one of them tends to be more of a morning drink, and one is more of an afternoon and later drink. So
yeah.
But it sounds like you have a coffee shop in your brewery.
Yeah. I mean, and you touched on the exact reason why we have a coffee shop. So yeah, right. It's wholly owned by us. It's a different name. The brewery obviously is Unmapped. The coffee shop is called Base Camp Coffee and Provisions. And our motto for Unmapped is go somewhere unmapped. And then the motto for Base Camp is you've made it. So we're kind of tied the two together there. But we use the same artist that does all of our like can labels. She did all of the branding and stuff for the coffee shop. So it seems very like interconnected, which was very intentional. But yeah, like you mentioned, beer isn't for most people an afternoon evening beverage, but you're paying rent on a giant space for 24 hours a day. How do you get people there in the morning? And clearly coffee is a primarily morning beverage, and there's a lot of when I say a lot, I guess maybe not as much as I would have originally thought, but there's crossover between coffee drinkers and beer drinkers, because I think there's a lot of craft in both of it, and people that appreciate craft beer also appreciate craft, hand artisan coffee, put all the cliche words in there, but one of the and we can't claim to have invented the brewery coffee shop. There were a number of breweries that did that before us, and we loved the idea. But one thing that we knew we didn't want to be was just a brewery that had a espresso machine on the back bar. We wanted our own space, separate space, and make it more of a boutique coffee shop. And I was there to assist as much as I could. It was before I had ownership. So I have to give all the credit to the people that did build that out and made it what it was, because they did an amazing job. It is a really neat coffee shop that has a really cool vibe. You're always going to get a good quality coffee there. It's not coffee isn't a second thought. It's the primary focus, and they're doing a really good job. They're also really good at sharing what some stuff is that people might not know. Like everyone knows that Starbucks screwed up the word macchiato. So they'll help people understand what a macchiato is supposed to be, or even for my sake, like what's a cortado. They'll educate you on that. And one of my favorite new drinks is a miel, like a latte with cinnamon and honey. It's amazing. These are all things that I've learned just from being around them. And but yeah, I got to give the crew over there lots of credit. They're doing lots of really good things. And that was also a project that was more of an evolution too, because when we started the coffee shop, we wanted it to be very like bicycle focused and retail. and that just didn't work. There was no interest there. It was more, we sold a ton more little knick-knacky stuff than we did like kind of mid to high end clothing that we had originally started with. And we didn't have a whole lot of base camp focused merchandise. It was more just like outdoorsy and adventurous kind of gear. And like we had bike socks or like bags that go on your bike and stuff like that. It wasn't successful the way that we thought they might be. But we kind of found our place now. We have a little free library in the brewery, and that's been great. And I would love to expand that. I'd love to have a giant free library. And I think that ties in really nicely with our whole, go somewhere unmapped, which I should, talk about a little bit too. That, people ask, where did the name come from? Like, what does that mean? Essentially, it means, get out of your comfort zone, try something that you've never tried before, do something different, get adventurous, go somewhere new, and what better way to do all of those things than to just open a book? And so we want to promote, reading and stuff like that. And I think that the coffee shop would be great for that. I'd love to have, local authors come in and speak and talk about that. And, but that's kind of what the coffee shop has evolved into. And we just love what it's become because it's also been, financially successful too. And that's been really good for us. It's helped, it's helped kind of bookend the days, with everything else. And I want to be sure to say that Unmapped is doing really well. I know there's a lot of really negative news when it comes to like breweries closing, and you can talk about all the, different things that are causing closures, but there's not really one main thing. And I would love to, get together with a group of other breweries that are also doing well, and, go on the news or something and let people know that, hey, breweries aren't dead. We're still here and we're still doing well, and we want you guys to keep coming out. But the coffee shop has really helped with us and kind of keeping the ball rolling, as it were. But yeah, was there anything specific that you want to know about the coffee shop? Or
you hit the stuff out? Yeah. Well, I do kind of want to know: are you doing more coffee beers because of the coffee shop?
No. And that kind of is a good answer for what you had asked earlier. I've been saying for months now that we should probably be doing more coffee beers now that we have a coffee shop. But we had always made, I shouldn't say always, but prior to the coffee shop opening, we made a coffee beer called Base Camp. And that was kind of where the name of the coffee shop came from.
That makes
and
sense.
We do continue to make that. And we get we don't roast our own beans. That's a question that we get a lot. But we get our beans from a company called Fika, and they're out of Lutzen, Minnesota, which is way up on the North Shore. Beautiful place up there, and kind of it's the kind of countryside that we want people to envision when they think of Unmapped, even though we're 200 miles away. But they are the ones that do all the roasting, and they roast all the beans for us for the coffee beer as well. But one of the things that we haven't done is like a golden coffee ale, and I think those are really good. I don't know, Wendy, did you get a chance to go to Modest Brewing?
I did not.
Okay, they're amazing, but they have
No.
Yeah, they're downtown by the baseball stadium.
Nope.
Okay, they have a beer called First Call, and it's a coffee lager. It's amazing. It's you would never know by looking at it. I think there's a presumption that if it's a coffee beer, it's going to be dark, but just because there's coffee in it, it doesn't make it dark. I love drinking a golden ale with coffee flavor. I think it's amazing, and they do a really good one. I'd love to give that a shot someday.
So you just hit one of my pet peeves. When people brew a coffee ale and call it a white stout.
Oh, yeah. I still don't know what a white stout is supposed to be.
Like, the fact that you just described everything that people call white stouts in different terms makes me so happy.
Well, and I think, like, for me, when it comes to beers that are, for lack of a better term, like oxymoronic, I go back to a black IPA, but I could get behind a black IPA because by definition, it should taste like an IPA but look like a stout. And if done
Yeah.
right, it can be done right. But I don't see any way in the world you could ever make a white stout. Like it can't taste like a stout and look white. I just don't know how that's possible. You can make a great
Coffee ale.
beer, but it's not. But whatever.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, I guess.
Does the
I
coffee
know.
shop have baked goods?
They do, yeah. We go through Great Harvest Bread Company, which
Oh, I
is
am very familiar. I love those guys.
yeah, yeah. There's a local shop in Minnetonka. There's a number of them, but we're the brewery and coffee shop are in Minnetonka, which is a western suburb of the Twin Cities, and there's a Great Harvest there. They
We
have
always
really.
used to get the Easter loaf that comes in the shape of a rabbit.
I've not heard of that. Okay.
It's got like little, it's got spaghetti sticking out for whiskers, and it's got little
What?
ears, and I can't
Spaghetti
remember
whiskers.
little candies for eyes. I don't remember all of the things. It's
Okay.
been a few years, but yeah, that's what.
I
Great
need to
Harvest is
talk
great.
to my bakery at the market next week, man. Be like, listen, we need
So
this.
you said
But
it was
where
called
I was-
the Easter loaf?
Yeah, it was available in Easter. Of course, this was, my kids are old now, so it would have been about 15 years ago that we probably got the
Okay.
last one.
About that.
So I don't know, but
So
where I
they
was
probably
going,
don't make
though-
it because it was a lot of work.
yes, if you did coffee
Probably.
beers, I wonder if you could work with them to do spent grain baked goods, and then you
Probably.
could have a whole mix of your beers and coffees. And
The whole circle, yeah. No kidding.
yeah,
We should ask the guy if he'd be interested in that. We do make, well, we don't, but there is somebody that, in fact, I just saw her this morning. She takes most of our spent grain goes to a farmer, like most breweries. But we do give a little bit of it to a gal that makes like doggy treats, the little growlers. I don't know if we talked about that when you were here, Wendy, but I don't think my landlord would mind me saying he actually eats them himself. Not a whole lot of people do. They're definitely for dogs, but they're definitely, human safe. But we do have somebody that makes dog treats out of our spent grain, and that's kind of a neat product that we have.
we used to make spent grain sourdough bread, and then
Okay.
I would make French toast out of that when that got stale. So
Gotcha.
it felt like it just kept going and going.
Yeah. I love spent grain bread because I think it just, I don't know if it's the moisture that's still left in the grain. It just seems like it has more moisture to it. I don't like dry bread. I like more moisture in my bread. But yeah, spent grain bread is great.
Absolutely. Derek, we are coming up. We are at the 58-minute mark, so we are going to start wrapping this up. And
All right, that went really fast. We must have been having fun.
you have been wonderful to talk to. Definitely.
Yes.
Awesome. I've enjoyed it.
Before we wrap, though, we will ask one final question, and
Yeah.
I will ask my standard question so Wendy can think of one. What was the last board game or card game you played, and did you win?
Okay, let's see. We were just up at the North Shore with the whole family, and it was one of two games. It was either cribbage, and I probably lost. My wife and I always team up against my parents, and we usually lose.
That is
Or it
so
was-
Minnesota.
Oh yeah, and that what I just said was probably Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even more, yeah.
But we've gotten really into playing this card game called Sevens with our kids, and it's a simple game. If you have a 7, you have to lead with it, and then you just build off of the 7 on either way, and high or low, and the first person to go out of cards wins. It's a pretty fun game. It's a pretty simple game, but we've played a lot of that, and I probably lost that to my 10-year-old too. I'm not a big board game player, but I do play a number of card games.
Yeah.
And I generally suck.
The last person I played cribbage with, they had a cabin. I don't know if it was in. I'm sorry, this is very rude. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or far western Wisconsin. I cannot remember at this point.
No,
but
that's
it
all
was
right.
way
I
up-
mean,
It was way up north.
yeah, I think Minnesota and Wisconsin have a very friendly rivalry. I love a lot of stuff about Wisconsin, even though I'm a Minnesotan.
I've got a lot of family in La Crosse and on Alaska, and so I am familiar with some of that. Yes.
On Alaska, yeah, awesome. Great
Rob's
Oktoberfest down there.
Up north and mine are completely different.
What was that, Wendy?
Rob's description of up north and mine are completely different.
When you get up north Wisconsin, up north Minnesota, there's definitely something similar between them.
Oh, I won't disagree.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Wendy, you have a question?
Okay, so
I thought Wendy had to answer that question, so she has to ask me a question.
No.
I got you. All right.
So first of all, I have to tell you, I'm super excited because Rob always asks the game question, and I played Screw Your Neighbor for the first time last night, and it took me half the game.
I don't know how to play it.
It was a game, right?
It's basically it's a card game. It's basically like you have to have the high card, the low card loses, blah blah blah. It's a gambling game. So everybody had $1. I won $8, if that tells you anything. But I won. It was awesome. But it literally took me half the game to figure out what was actually going on.
That usually helps.
Yeah. So
that's great though. Come out on the winning side.
Woo woo! And none of my friends that would take me to the casino afterwards were here, so I just went to bed.
Yeah.
So there are friends that I have that would have heard I won $8 at Screw the Neighbor and been like, "We got to go to the casino," and would have made me go. So
yeah,
I'm kind of glad they weren't here.
Casino person, I enjoy casinos.
So my question is: since I was in Minneapolis to go to Paisley Park, I'm going to ask, do you have any Prince stories or memories that you want to share or anything like that? Are you a Prince fan?
Yeah, I was a bigger Prince fan in college. I just remember playing there was a double disc greatest hits album that came out in the mid 90s. And I remember having a lot of fun with, all of that music with my college friends. And I grew up in Southwest Minnesota, went to college in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I wasn't really local to the Twin Cities. And I don't know if I even appreciated that he was, local to the Twin Cities. But I don't know what made me think of it, but I just realized that I've been living in the Twin Cities now for 26 years, so over half of my life. But I never really, I wasn't a huge Prince fan. I've never been to Paisley Park. My wife, who grew up in Eden Prairie, which is just adjacent to Chanhassen, she can tell me stories of when she and her friend would sneak out of the house and go to Paisley Park and wait till 2-3 in the morning when Prince would finally come out and play a few songs and stuff. So she has much better Prince stories. I'm a Prince fan, but not a super fan by any means. I don't have any great stories. I certainly do, it was significant enough the day that he died that it's one of those deals where you always will remember where you were and what you were doing. But I don't have great Prince stories.
You just said something, though, that made me happy because I was like, people really actually just from Minnesota went to Paisley Park and hung out in this club waiting for him to play. And you just confirmed that it actually happened. So that was a good story, in my opinion.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad that I could.
Thank you to your wife.
Yeah. Definitely.
Derek, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug or let us know about? We talked about the Flannel Roots thing, but that's kind of more of a local audience. But I guess, we touched upon it a little bit earlier is just, craft beer is not dead. Please continue to support your local craft breweries and tell them what you want them to make, and, be good to your neighbors, support the community, all the good things, nothing specific I want to plug, just, take care of each other. And beer is a great medium to continue to enjoy life and make friends. I can drink to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
I'll drink to that.
Wendy, you got anything to plug?
I do not. Oh, and
how's the
2
cellar
weekends
emptying
from now,
going?
Oh, it's not going very well because I'm in Columbus and I'm bringing more beer home. But in 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Grand Rapids doing some more beer tours. So
Michigan or
that's the only thing I
Minnesota?
really have to plug.
Toots is in the chat, and he is sharing his first Prince concert.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
That would have been something.
As for the show, next week we are coming at you at a weird time at noon Eastern. We got Liz in Chelsea rescheduled, so we will be talking to them from Berkeley Alley Brewing in Denver at a time that they are less likely to get slammed at work, it being 10 a.m. in Denver at that time. So get that
Brand
done.
new brewery.
Yeah.
Which means the owners are still working.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Serving.
Yeah, it's rough. So we will definitely have to hear about their war wounds. And then the week after that, Wendy and I are both out, so we will not have a show that week. And we will be back. And I did not pull up the schedule for weeks after that, but I know somewhere in there is Burnham Brewing, who is a nice Indiana brewery that I am excited to talk to. But that is all that I think that we've got. So we will go ahead and wrap up the show and end it like we end every show. I should say I am now drinking a Dragon's Milk S'mores that was poured out of a growler because it was once again on tap. And so whatever you think of your beer, we think it is better on draft.
Cheers.
Cheers.